All right, we are on the air here, and I'm just going to introduce a guest I've got here and say something. Make sure you're still there.
Yes, I'm here, Thomas.
It's so quiet sometimes. It's like, okay, she's still there. Thank you. But this is Jerri Atkins, and I know Jerri from the Facebook group called ASD Village. It's a group that was started up probably in April, I think it was, that is growing. It's a nice group of people that are about 98% on the spectrum there. But the reason I wanted to talk with Jerri is she wrote I don't know what to call it, an article or a testimonial or whatever, but it really was deep for me because people, well, I'm sorry, I'm going on and on. I want to at least have Jerri say hello to everyone.
Hi, Thomas. Thank you for, reading it, but just to know that you identified with it is beyond the measure of therapy it provided me.
Wow. See, and I can understand that to a large degree because I was on one, I think the last video I just put up was that what really was the deciding moment, or the moment that I went, I have found something profound here, was when I was on the forums or the blogs, I can't remember which, and watching what people were, or reading what people were saying, and sending them messages back and forth and confirming that I wasn't crazy for once, I mean,
yeah.
It was just and that's how this article hit me. It's like someone else that has walked in my shoes wrote this. Yeah.
And that is such a validating thing to know that there is another person who has had that experience, which by and large to the neurotypical community on this earth, they never would even think of that.
Yeah.
And yet that's where we live.
Yeah. It's hard. It's still very hard. When did you get diagnosed? How long have you known that you're on the spectrum?
I've known since I was 5.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you were a late diagnosed. And you still...
No. I wasn't diagnosed. I didn't get my official paper until 2013. And that was only for me to know that, okay, I'm not crazy.
Wow.
I'm not crazy. There's this other thing called autism that
we're all crazy. I know that.
Means I'm not totally off the charts.
Yeah. But did you suspected it though?
Yes, and several physicians. I wonder if we all travel the road where, with our myriad presentations of strange symptoms and physical ailments, we end up parading in front of a lot of professionals in many different areas, and several of them had thrown that out gently to my parents, who, of course, dismissed it and went for something that they knew of, heard of, could pronounce, and was more acceptable and easier to deal with. And surely, not in any malicious way, but in a way that maybe didn't hurt their feelings or their heart at all.
Sure. Yeah, protecting them in a sense. I mean, from...
Yeah, so I mean, they had completely dismissed it, but I didn't dismiss nothing that I heard growing up or anything that I saw. All these things go into the daily computer where we rate things and make observations and try to propel forward better than we did yesterday.
Do you have any other diagnoses? Like, I'm ADD, inattentive, dyslexic. They've had. I remember another thing was cross dominance, where I guess I use both left and right interchangeably, and actually I have a problem with left and right. I had to go through I think it took me literally years to be able to say, when someone said your right hand, I had to think about it. I had to go, okay. I did. I had to go, okay. I had to think about it. Let's see what else. Oh, and then I was hypoxic at birth. My mother, it was when they first started inducing labor with whatever there's one hormone or something that they use now that induces labor, and they didn't use fetal monitors then. And I don't know if they gave her too much or whatever, but I wasn't breathing for quite a while. So they said that actually caused brain damage. So, and I was talking with Carol, and I kind of dismissed the whole brain damage thing. I mean, because I thought, well, it must be minor, or else I'd be limping or something, And she said, no, that, and she had me look it up, and that increases when there's hypoxia at birth. That increases like your chances of being autistic, like 6-fold, 8-fold, 10-fold, or some sort of a significant,
Wow.
Yeah, and so it was like so now I don't discount anything. If I had another example, or I guess another thing that when I say I don't discount anything, I guess I have discounted, was I had a pretty serious concussion when I was about 4. That who knows how all this adds into this whole mix of this experience we have of being autistic,
Exactly. And based on the fact that it would appear to me in my research that most of us are highly sensitive individuals to begin with. We smell more than anybody else can smell. We hear better. We can see better. We're all gifted in certain avenues, but it also makes us less able to withstand the onslaught.
Yeah. See, I think that is where the how do I put this? The definition of high functioning versus low functioning is the autism. Well, I think there may be some differences in what the autism, how it expresses itself, but the ability of the person to cope with all of those factors. I mean, I don't think it's an intelligence thing per se, because like Carol is. I think Carol's a genius. I'm just pretty much, I don't think I may have some strong points and things, but I don't think there's anything I'm like really, really, really excel in. But I don't have the same kind of traits she does. I mean, she has the synesthesia. She has the whole sensory overload of touch and temperature and on and on and on, sound and smell and you name it. Those are all. And as I have learned, as I have learned that I'm autistic and start to pay attention to my traits, I've noticed how sensitive I am to sound, especially a sudden sound. If somebody, if I didn't know it and you came up and poked me in the ribs or touched me, I might.
I would have startle reflex.
Oh my gosh! As a matter of fact, I think I hurt people as a kid when they'd like poke and play, because it was an elbow that automatically pushed their hand out of the way, and if it was their face in the way, it didn't matter. It's literally a reflex.
Yes.
And and it's so it's no wonder we don't have friends. We beat them up,
Mm-hmm. At birth, they call it the Moro reflex. But I would tend to speculate that the vast majority of people on the spectrum never lose their Moro reflex.
Interesting.
On a lot of infants and certain majority, that lessens over time as they become acclimated to their surroundings.
Yeah.
But we are challenged in areas that it's almost like once we're in the fight or flight pattern, we stay just enough off balance for every day from that point on that we never throttle down out of that.
Yeah. Yep. I'm learning so much still. I'm just
and that's the wonderful part of the journey, is that finally, after I feel like I've been in the desert for 50 years,
yes,
I have managed to make a connection with you. I feel like I have a connection with Carol and James and these people who, after comments and getting to read what they write and respond to on the internet, it does give you a sense of community that is invaluable.
Oh my gosh, yes. I count that blessing every time, every day that I sit down, and it's actually, I have to be careful because
it's consuming, isn't it?
It is. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's consuming because I would say, my sister might be on the spectrum. My father might have been, and his father might have been. I suspect it, but I don't have, like, both of my father and my grandfather, of course, have passed away. My sister, I think, is, I don't know if I want to call it denial or whatever, but I just don't, or it might not be her. She might have, she has terrible social anxieties. She's got a lot of, matter of fact, I gave her I sent her a link to, I think it's called the Female Traits of Asperger's or something. But it goes through all the different, and it's like it'd be a still picture, and then it shows a list of different traits, and then it fades to another picture with another list of traits. And I gave that to her, and I thought, nah, okay, well, I'm barking up the wrong tree in that. She didn't even respond. And I think about a month later, I talked with her, and I said, or either that, or she said to me, yeah, I read through that. She said, I cried during the whole thing because it was so much of that. And I thought, wow, I have an Aspie sister, but she hasn't said anything more about it. So I'm not going to push it. That's something she's got to come to herself. But
exactly, and being a spectrum, some of us are more impaired in certain areas than others, and also I think depending on, even like you say, this is your sister's. For all intents and purposes, y'all were nurtured in the same environment. Yeah. However, we have differences of gender, and we all know that would speak to differences in the way people respond to us and teach us. So she may not even be aware of her masking if she is indeed on the spectrum somewhere. I suspect one of my children is, but she doesn't see it.
Yeah.
Nor does she really want to.
That's a good point. She just doesn't see it. And to me, this was such a blessing because I realized how close I could have been to saying, nah, you're not, not this Asperger's thing again. Because I discounted it once about 3 or 4 years ago with a coworker who was talking about her son, and she eventually I would say, I don't remember his name, but I'll say Bobby, and Bob, we took through some sort of social awareness, whatever, I don't know, it wasn't training, it wasn't her words, but something to teach the social awareness skills, and she'd talk about him, and the more she'd talk about him, the more I went, it was just this bizarre gut feeling, or it was like it tied in. See, this whole thing is so subconscious as we go through this. I mean, we're aware of it on a certain level, but we've discounted it in so many ways, and everyone else has discounted it in so many ways that you just kind of, if you believe in it, you start believing you're crazy or something,
Exactly. And if you live in a family, like, my father was definitely and blessed as a savant because he had musical skills and literal skills and knew several languages, and it took nothing for his mind to pick something up and keep it.
Uh-huh.
I can absorb vast amounts of knowledge, but I'll put them in mixed up boxes in the old attic. Oh gosh, I just lost that thought, Thomas.
That's another one of our traits, everyone. It really
that train
is.
left the station, and I never got a solid foot on it.
So, but you were talking about, okay, well, now I'm going to lose it. Who are you? What's your name again? What are you doing here? Yeah.
Oh man.
Isn't it actually refreshing? When I went to go visit Carol, for about a week, and and it's refreshing to have people laugh, not at you, but with you, really with you, because they're just like, oh yeah, I do that all the time, and and it's very refreshing. But that this is what your article or what you wrote really reflects, and that is exactly, you captured the emotion, and because I've talked to people about when I found out I was on the spectrum. There was this sadness, this sorrow, this crying that would come out of me that would be literally, and I just felt it just now. And normally, I mean, when I first found it, I would have been totally sobbing. I would have been crying like you just told me my whole family and all my friends were just killed in a plane wreck, and the plane is headed right towards me now, or something. I mean, you could think of the worst scenario, and it could be 2 seconds that I felt that way. It could be 20 minutes.
Right.
But it's these feelings that you captured here. It's this lonely, abandoned. What words can you use to describe something that you literally feel like you should? I felt as a kid that life was a mistake. It was to that level. I thought I used to think, well, I knew I was hypoxic at birth, and maybe I shouldn't have even lived then. Maybe I should never have recovered or whatever. Maybe that's why I feel so strange. Maybe I'm not even supposed to be here.
That is so odd that you would say that.
Uh-oh.
I very nearly died when I was 15, and that happening really is something that I have many, many times gone back to in the pit of despair and said, why am I still here? I am doing no good. I am unable to make connections. I am unable to put the pieces of this puzzle together. Yeah. I cannot communicate with this society.
Yeah.
I'm a throwaway. I am a burden.
Yeah.
And what have I done to deserve this hell?
Yes, it was like it's a punishment. Because I was raised, and we went to church regularly when I was a kid, so the whole, there was a large biblical influence in my life, and I still believe in the goodness. I mean, I believe that I don't consider myself even really a Christian now. I don't, but I believe in what the Bible has been saying. I believe in the teachings of the Bible, and so I kind of pieced all that together and said, okay, this must be because this is some sort of a test, or this is some sort of a, you've got to go through this. This life is a lesson, and whatever it is, you've got to endure it.
Yes.
I mean, these are the crazy thoughts that when you don't have anyone to talk to, you don't know what's going on. You just come up with explanations and
that we have to blindly figure these things out as best we can from whatever perspective. And sometimes I was thinking the other night, we've got behavioral patterns that are go-to moves for us when stressed or challenged in certain ways. But when I look back on my responses, these responses I've had since I was 5. And not having community, not having had benefit of people around me who understood me and who I could understand when I asked a question of them and they responded with this, 12 words. Just living on scraps of what we have to assume is valid information and piecing this together, the patchwork that is the floor that we have to cross and walk on and stand on and operate from is not even solid from the very beginning.
Yes. That really well explains what I've always been trying to say about I felt so incomplete before I knew this, and you've given me real good food for thought, because for some reason it's like life was on hold. I don't feel like I've really fully lived until after this, until I found out that what this key was. That it's not that it wasn't that the foundations that how do I put this? It's so hard to put into words, but we were building on the assumption that everything that we saw around us and the way that everything functioned around us was the right way and the way that we should function and base our whole lives on. So that so that means that everything that you see that is not autistically based, I guess to put it, and it challenges or is in opposition to the way you feel, you think, you talk, everything else, you start then to you shut that part of you out as being, well, this is not a valid way to feel, or this is not a valid way to talk, and this is masking. This is that whole thing about masking. It's deeper than just this facade that we put up. It's something so deep internally that it is the basis of our existence. And when you get that diagnosis that says, no, wait, you were okay. It wasn't that your base was wrong. It was that you were comparing apples and oranges. You were trying to be something you were not. And that is such a relief to be able to say, it isn't me. Right. I'm not being tested by God. I'm not. And on, and it opens up the ability to love people in a different way, because you don't even feel worthy of love.
Yes, you do. Now that you know you are not, you still have to participate in fraudulent behavior in order to maneuver on a daily basis. However, your whole acceptance of self is then allowed, and it's like you can take a deep breath, because yes, you've been tippy-toeing around and putting on a good show, but it's easier to forgive yourself for your anger and for whatever you have tortured yourself with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I'm still definitely deep in that. I don't know where I'm in that. I mean, that's how new it is to me. I mean, I don't know. There's some things that there's a part of me, I think just the other day, I think I was on one of the recordings I made, was that saying I think I may have come to I'm either at a plateau or I've actually done a pretty good job of figuring this all out. Well, I also think I said, well, but the reality of it is I probably have a long ways to go.
Yes.
It probably is a plateau instead of a final destination. But
and I wonder how much of because I remember things all the time as I see, something catches my eye, or I read something, it will bring back a memory that I have suppressed for, goodness, many, many, many years.
Yes.
So I think that our life experience, I don't believe that any of us, we've thrown it away. I think we've repressed. I think we've stuffed. I think we've hidden parts of ourselves that could not at that moment in time be understood or analyzed for one reason or another. And I hope that I have enough sanity left, to go back and open all of those boxes.
Yes, I'm sitting here, and you're going to have to watch this video and we'll see what my reaction was, because you were saying something. This is just again and again and again. You're saying something that was just, I have said to myself about, and I'm going to laugh because I'm forgetting what you just said.
Oh my gosh. That has been truly a lifeline to when I saw you and Carol talking.
Yeah.
Not that I doubted for a moment that you were real, but to have the audio and the video to go with the written words that I had seen prior to that. It was an amazing thing to see y'all connect, just to hear you talk with no awkward lulls, with only joy, with complete understanding. It was amazing. It was like remembering a conversation with my dad. We sometimes we didn't even need words. If we both saw the same thing and both looked at each other, we just knew what the other half of our brain said. And that is such a special thing that I think neurotypical people can be satisfied on a daily basis with that, with a lot of different people. So they have satisfaction, a little happy hit with almost every communication they have in life. Yeah. With us, there are so few like us. It's like the albino of any species running across another one. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
I am justified. I actually exist.
I'm going to put us on hold here a second because my card is going to run out here. We're at 27 minutes, and that's about the end of the card. I'm going to just put a new card in, so I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to shut this portion off, and we're going to continue on this. So hang on a second.